county and we are not a state. We are now called a banana republic. But I believe that we have got some of the most educated scientists in this country and doctors who must be trusted to dissect the constitution of this vaccine and ensure that it is right and fit for our people.
On the surface, Wednesday started like so many Trump rallies had before. But the anger and the tension felt more intense. Congress was about to confirm Joe Biden's presidency, and most here were convinced it was a fraud.
Do you think people are angry today?
Absolutely, people are angry, and you can feel it. You can feel the rage, the madness.
Before Trump's speech was even finished, many were already making their way to the Capitol.
Stop protecting tyrants! Stand down!
And as more protesters arrived, the mood darkened.
Hold up, man! Hold up, man!
We're here at the Capitol steps. Right after the Trump speech was finished, people started filing over here and started pressing against the Capitol. Police are spraying mace and pushing the lines back so people can get through. We're going to move forward.
USA! 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 Come on!
But as we pushed up,
Who's on the media? Get the fuck out of here! Get the fuck out of here! Get the fuck out of here! Hey, get the fuck out of here!
they tried to smash our camera.
Who you with? Who? Who's your covering? Is it CNN? Better not be CNN.
Police started throwing flashbang grenades and spraying mace. As the crowd pushed up, one man flashed his handgun at a group of journalists. The cops weren't prepared. They had to take turns with the masks to protect from their own tear gas. The defense lines quickly fell apart. Soon after, the mob was rampaging through the halls of the Capitol. From what we saw on Wednesday, the MAGA anger is at a new level. And with Trump now banned from Twitter and plans already circulating for future marches on the Capitol, that day of unprecedented violence may not be the end of this unrest.
Greetings and welcome to another powerful edition of the Community Defender Talk Show. One powerful hour of truth, dispelling falsehood. I'm your host, Brother Darrell Muhammad, and we are so very glad and grateful that you have tuned in to tonight's program. Of course, you know we are coming close to 22 years of broadcasting here from your Community Defender location, and we are very, very proud of the fact that we continue to render a service to the people of our community. Now, of course, tonight's topic is the masquerade is over. The masquerade is over. And some time ago on this program, we said that the enemy was masquerading as a friend, masquerading as somebody who believed in democracy, masquerading as someone who believed in law and order. And now we see, some years later, that this masquerade of being a civil person that believes in one man, one vote is now completely over. Now, not just that masquerade is over, but the other masquerade of the party that our people have depended upon, being a party that will truly roll with us and roll with what is right without pressure, that masquerade is also over. And so we have a couple of things that we're going to cover on tonight's program under the title of The Masquerade is Over. And then we're going to leave you to think about these things that we lay out. Now, what we call for over and over on this show, and we can never call for it enough, and that is the unity of our people. We call and have called for our people to come together in unity, that we may work together to build a future for ourselves and for our people. We have called for this because this is the divine destiny that will, of course, lead to the prosperity that all of us are saying we want. And when I say prosperity, I'm not only talking about nice homes, good education. I'm not only talking about food and clothing and shelter and all those things that we say are what make us prosperous. But I'm talking about an abiding faith in God and an abiding love one for each other. It is those kinds of things that make us truly prosperous. Now, going forward from this day on, with everything that we've seen and with all of the wickedness that we have dealt with over these years, from the Gulf War, I mean, we have been dealing with a lot of topics. We've been with you really, you're looking at, we started on this program when Bill Clinton was actually ending his second term. And we went all the way through the Bush administration, all the way through the Obama administration. And now in a few days, we will, if everything goes like it looks like it's going to go, we will be at the end of the Trump administration. So we've been with you really through 4 presidents. This program has been on through 4 presidents. So it's been on for quite a while. But the message of unity and love that our people must have has been a consistent message, a consistent theme, because it is the one thing that we fail to try. Now, I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, that we did play some of that Zoom call, did we not?
Yes.
And in playing that Zoom call, the masquerade of having our back, the masquerade of the Democrats truly in a position mentally and spiritually to reward us with the justice that we seek. You can tell by that Zoom call that the intention is to moderate his stance as he becomes president, as Joe Biden becomes president. Now, I want you to think about this. With all of the effort that we put in, and if you look at the way that the people were handled on that Zoom call, it's totally amazing. He said that we shouldn't be disappointed because we've already done more. He's already done more than anyone else has done. Well, you haven't done anything because you haven't been sworn in. The only thing you've done is make campaign promises, and you have come with a certain tone and used certain words, but it's going to take more than words to get those things that you and I need. Now, the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, God's man on the straight path, did say no administration will do anything that you could not force that administration to do. No administration would be willing to do anything that our unity would not force them to do. And it doesn't matter, Republican, Democrat, or whatever. Now, fast forward, everything that was going on against Ice Cube, because Ice Cube had a meeting to discuss black problems with somebody in the Trump administration. And then they put it out there like he was partnering with them. No, he was giving them demands. Okay? So in giving him those demands, giving those people in the Trump administration those demands, they spun it, and many of us went for the okie doke. Now, a lot of this slander against Ice Cube was really managed by members of the Biden administration, and of course the Griot and other outlets online put things out there that were patently false, writing articles with assumptions. Why do black men support Trump with Ice Cube's picture there? You're writing an article. And when people scroll down on Facebook and they're scrolling on their phones or their iPad and they look and they see that, they automatically jump to conclusion. But it was made to be that way. Now, why do I say that? And why am I bringing this up? Because as a people, we should always want something for what we give. If I'm at a store and I'm buying, let's say, some organic eggs, which is, most of the time the kind of eggs I buy, they're going to be organic. They're going to be a little more expensive. If I'm buying eggs, maybe $5 or $6 for a dozen, as opposed to the little $1.50, $1.80, eggs that don't smell so well when you cook them. The thing about it is, I'm going to want something for that exchange. Okay. I'm going to want something, and there's nothing wrong with that. And people jumped on Ice Cube. I think, you're jumping on your friend so you can support somebody who up to this point has had an enemy history. And that's just what it is with Joe Biden. We'll see if he does better. But again, we're asking Joe Biden, okay, to go against all of the policies that he advocated for. He has spent his life's work trying to make sure that people could not get out of their student loans. He has made it his life's work to make sure that you could not discharge credit card debt. He has made it his life's work to make sure that the criminal penalties for drugs are as high and as long as possible. Now we're asking him to go against what he has worked for the past 40 years and to do something different because now he's seen the light. Hey, nothing is impossible. But it doesn't mean that because it's possible, it's not still highly improbable. Now, I understand that our people wanted Trump out. Don Louis Farrakhan said, hey, our people just wanted Trump out. We were just so tired of Trump. And Trump is a very irritating personality. He is a person who is not mentally stable. But what Donald Trump reflects really is a lack of stability in the general majority population in this country, a lack of stability and a desire to point the finger at the other guy, at the melanated people, the Latinos, the blacks, the Asians, and never accept responsibility for how you governed and how you voted. The reason that this country has a deficit is not because of what it does for the poor. It's because of the welfare that it gives to the rich. That's the reason that this country is in the shape it's in, is because it's given everything to the rich and lied to the working class about it. And that's why the country is in the shape that it's in today fiscally. What are we approaching? Around 25, $26 trillion in debt, an insurmountable amount of debt. I mean, the idea that that debt is ever going to be paid is laughable. All right, but there's light at the end of the tunnel. With unity, with the unity of our people, we can get to where we need to get to as a people. Now, if you look at the final call, it talks about American mayhem. American mayhem. And it goes into those things that happened at the riot, at the insurrection, at the rebellion, whatever you want to call it. All of those things that happened. Now, we have been led to believe that the current president is a law and order president. Many of you believe that. But as we said earlier, as we said some time ago, when they say law and order, they only mean the law of white supremacy. And they mean the order of white man on top and black man on bottom. That's the law and the order that they're talking about when they speak of law and order. It's not that you have a civil society. Because what happened shows you, and the final call goes into the double standard, how that double standard was on display. And it was easy to see. And it was so easy to see that white people, whenever you can see something very clearly, white people begin to tell you what you can already see in an effort to try to get ahead of it to make you think they're on your side. So they'll say, well, if that had been Black Lives Matter, they would have all been shot. Yeah, we know that already. We saw the double standard. We saw how many police were there when Black Lives Matter and other people had a peaceful protest where they did not break into the Capitol. We saw how more of them were arrested during that time and how there was a much more heavy hand. All in St. Louis when Michael Brown was killed over there in Ferguson. We saw everything with the Freddie Gray protest. And it goes on and on and on. And the heavy hand that law enforcement have, that police have, when dealing with black people who are protesting for justice, as opposed to a 99.9% white crowd trying to overthrow an election. Okay? Real big difference. Real big difference. And so I wanted us to look at that and check that out. Now, I want to mention something. Monday is going to be the Martin Luther King celebration. And, of course, we know that Martin Luther King was assassinated. And the U.S. government was found guilty in a civil court in 1999, guilty of being a part of that assassination by preponderance of the evidence. That particular trial, which happened in Tennessee, is not talked about much, but it was covered in the final call some years ago that, yeah, they were found guilty. They were found to be responsible for the assassination of our beautiful brother. The problem that I have had with these celebrations is not that our beautiful brother Dr. Martin Luther King, who was an evolving thinker, a lover of our people, a true lover of black people, Dr. Martin Luther King, that people have sanitized his image so that his image is palatable to white people. And when you get the image of something that is not a true image, you are not empowered by the truth of who that person was and what that person worked for. So they have reduced Dr. Martin Luther King, as Minister Farrakhan has said, to an I have a dream speech. They have reduced him to a simple speech, and they have reduced Malcolm X to by any means necessary. They reduce everybody to some small speech some small idea that our young people will never know the depth of the person, the struggle of the person, such that we can be empowered by the truth of that person. Because it is only the truth that will set us free. It is only the truth that will make us free, and our adherence to that truth. Now, what has been shown is that our people are very powerful. You came together a couple of days and you determined who the next president would be. You came together a couple more days and you determined by your vote and your dollars that you sent who would control the Senate. But you're going to have to continue to be together, not just for the election, but you and I are going to have to be together every day, pressing these people, letting them know, look, now the reins of authority are in your hands. And if you do not live up to your promises, you're going to be shellacked, as Brother Obama said, in the midterms. And the power that you have now, you will lose it in 2 years if you play games with the black vote. You're going to lose it. Don't be afraid of being seen as too liberal. Be afraid of losing the enthusiasm of black voters who, without that enthusiasm, you guys would not have the political power that you have, and recognize it was black people that gave it to you. Black people who struggled. Black people who stood in line when the people in Georgia closed down polling locations in majority black areas. It was black people who stood in line in hopes that your control of that Senate would then take away all your excuses. So now Biden does not have any excuses. He can ram everything in there, do it just like the Reclanican did, ram it. But now we see that he's seeking to reach across the aisle and try to appropriate Mitch McConnell and some of his priorities in an effort to be bipartisan. You see, he's already softening. He's already compromising. Even as these people have been vicious in the way that they've handled everything from appointments to legislation to blocking aid, they've done one thing after another to try to stop resources from coming to the greater population. Now, one of the things that they have to do is our people are going to, they're going to have to repeal that top 1% tax cut that Trump passed. You're going to have to repeal that. That's totally irresponsible. You're going to have to repeal it, and you're going to have to actually dial that back and bring it to probably pre-Bush levels in terms of that top 1% that they would pay their fair share. You're going to have to do that. You're going to have to balance the budgets with the extra money of the billionaires rather than balancing the budgets on the back of the poor like you've been doing. And I would say that all the activists, everybody from Ice Cube to Tamika Mallory, everybody from Dr. Boyce Watkins to Cornel West, everybody needs to continue to put that pressure on whoever is in office for the benefit of our people. Now, what I didn't hear on that Zoom call, which troubled me, it troubled me a great deal. What I did not hear on that Zoom call with black leadership, and it's actually on YouTube, the whole Zoom call where black leaders were talking to Joe Biden, that whole thing is on YouTube where you can just listen to it from start to finish. Well, when you look at it, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and I guess share this to Facebook right quick, and boom, all right, post. Hopefully it'll go. Okay, good deal. I had to make sure I posted our broadcast to Facebook. But what troubled me, yeah, I believe we got it. what troubled me a great deal was that Joe Biden has ultimate pardon power at the federal level. And even as they were talking about the different appointments into the cabinets and their disappointment at who got what appointments, they did not bring up those poor people doing life on a first offense. They didn't bring up those poor people that they talked about initially to get the ball rolling when they got an audience with that man who was the president-elect. They did not bring up those people that are in jail. And they did not bring up his power to let them out immediately. He has the power at the federal level to let them out. And those who are already out, who cannot get jobs because of a criminal record, he has the power to absolve them completely of their criminal record such that they can apply for any job that they want to, and that record will not hold them back. He has the power to do that right now. But he was not pressed on that. And one thing, people say that these ragtag people in Afghanistan are called the Taliban. People talk about them and talk about how, they need to, how backward they are. But here's the thing you got to understand. Every time they go to the negotiating table, they are always negotiating for the release of prisoners. And I mean always. That's the first thing that comes out of their mouth. We want our soldiers back. Well, do you know that mass incarceration and the war on drugs, as we said 20 years ago, is really a war on black people? And that those people who are in prison are prisoners of a war on our people, not prisoners to stop crime and drugs? And for you to win a battle and not negotiate for the release of your prisoners of war that have been kidnapped by America, and to tell this president, your son, who carried so much crack around that he would have been sentenced to life, your son, who you said in your last debate with Trump that you were proud of him because he had overcome his drug problem, your son is free and worth millions of dollars because he's free. And we want our people who did not have a daddy who was a decades-long senator. We want them to get out of prison. But hey, they didn't mention it. Now, they pressed him harder than they normally press somebody. But they still have a little ways to go in representing you and I. One of the things that Al Sharpton said very timidly, he said, look, I won't embarrass you. I would never embarrass you, Mr. President-elect. But I must say, we're disappointed, right? He said, I'm not going to lie to you, but I'm not going to go out here and embarrass you. Well, the question comes, what Al was saying, I'm not going to run out here to the press, but I'm going to express my discontent in this somewhat private forum, but I'm not going to put that public pressure on you. But why not? Because the things that Biden said to get black men locked up, he said those things publicly. He went out publicly and advocated his policies. And so until you and I are willing to go out on a limb for what we believe is right, what we know is right, and not be compromising in our approach to it, because now everybody knows that the black folks made the difference in this election, made the difference in capturing the Senate. Black people made the difference. You're very powerful. And you have put an old white man in an old White House. Let us see if you're putting an old white man in an old White House will get your and my people out of the prison house. Because until they are out of the prison house, I personally don't care who's in the White House. Okay? And it goes back to what Jesus said. Inasmuch as you have not done it unto the least of these, my brethren, you have not done it also unto me. Jesus was concerned about how the poorest people were, how they were doing, what was going on with the poor. That's what he was concerned about. And you and I must be concerned about the same thing as it relates to our people. When we get a chance to talk to somebody, we need to be negotiating to get our prisoners of war out of prison. Now, I want to mention this because I wanted to show this other headline that deals with how women are treated. This is the final call that says, respect, protect the black woman. And there's an article called The Sacredness of the Female. You know, in America, where the female is paraded around like a piece of meat, like merchandise to be sold, it's good to know that there's a Nation of Islam on scene that is preaching the elevation of the female, the acculturation of the female, such that our entire nation will benefit. And as we are taught in the Nation of Islam, if you teach a man, you teach an individual. When you teach a woman, you teach a nation. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that 75% of our work is with the woman. Once you get that woman where she needs to be educationally, morally, mentally, then all of the children that come forth from her womb will be in an elevated position because their first teacher will be an enlightened teacher. That's why we need to really focus on the uplift of our women. Now, I want to mention this to make sure that I cover this before we get off the air. And that is, a few of our sororities, and I don't want to miss anybody. I know the AKAs, the Deltas, and the Zetas, since we last had our broadcast, have all had Founders Days. It's amazing, and I didn't even know that the Founders Days of these black sororities was that close together. But I wanted to congratulate Alpha Kappa Alpha, Delta Sigma Theta, and Zeta Phi Beta on your over a century, all three of these sororities, right at over a century of service to our collegiate life, as well as your mentoring of a lot of young girls. We want to mention Sigma Gamma Rho also, but these three sororities, since we last were on air, have all had Founders Days or anniversaries, and we just want to congratulate all of you. You're part of that Divine Nine, and we want to congratulate you on your over a century, all three of you, of service to the black community. And we want to encourage you to continue to do the mentoring work that you do with these young, troubled girls who are victims of a war on black America by the policies of this government. And even though we have Deltas, Zetas, and AKAs in the administration, we have to continue to press as a people. As a people. And it looks like we're going to have Alphas as Secretary of Defense. We're going to have Alphas in different places and Omegas in different places. But you're there because people have sacrificed to get you to that point. You're there so that you can speak for the voiceless people who are not where you are. And for those of you who may have the ear of those in power, make sure that you are a forceful advocate for those things that they have promised that they would do. Now, I want to read something right quick because we want to also deal with this vaccine. And for those of you who don't know, I need you to go to NOI.org and I need you to watch that webcast by Dr. Wesley Muhammad. It was absolutely outstanding. It was absolutely elevating. And he dealt with the reasons why our people don't need the vaccine. Now, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said in his July 4th address, he called out the leaders of Africa and told them not to take the vaccines of America and England. He told them not to take those vaccines. And I'm going to play a clip in a second of, I think, the former vice president of Zambia speaking on the issue of those vaccines that they want to give to Africa. People on the African continent, black Africans on the African continent, make up 17% of the world's population, but are only 3.5% of the cases of COVID worldwide. So Africa is actually doing better than America is doing better certainly than Black America is doing. Africa is doing very well in the pandemic, as they thought that the pandemic would just run through Africa because in a lot of places there is no healthcare infrastructure to speak of. So they just knew that there were going to be bodies of black Africans piled up all over the place. But Africa has fared fairly well, considering, and we are grateful to God for that. Now I'm going to read something from an article in the latest Final Call, and it's entitled, "We Don't Want Your Vaccine, Say Growing Numbers of Healthcare Workers, Nurses, and First Responders." Now this is the title of the article. A growing numbers of healthcare workers, nurses, and first responders. And don't forget, I forget the foreign country, Brother Director, but 23 people have died in this one small European country after taking the vaccine. It's being looked into. There was a doctor here. Of course, our media shuts things down and closes off the light a little more, but in other countries, they actually are able to find out that people have taken this vaccine, gone home, went to bed, and just they've not woke back up. That's what's happened. So there's no way that in 5 months they could adequately test this chemical agent that they're calling a vaccine. And I would urge all of our people, on the voice of the Honorable Louis Farrakhan and the voice of history, do not trust these people. They have never told the truth. They have never operated in the realm of morality. They have never done that, ever. And so we don't believe that they're going to do it today. Now let's read this. Concerns about safety and efficacy top reasons why some medical personnel, firefighters, and others are not taking COVID vaccines. Many frontline nurses say information about the vaccines is lacking. Now, Katarina Thompson, a registered nurse, is also the Service Employees International Union's chief spokesperson on COVID-19 for its healthcare workers. Her number one goal, especially with the coronavirus surging, is looking at ways to keep health workers safe versus any vaccination risks. We encourage our members to strongly consider becoming vaccinated for the flu, for influenza vaccine. At the same time, we fully defend. Hold on just a second. We fully defend their rights as individuals to decline the flu vaccine, and we continue to defend the rights of our members to decline the COVID vaccine, explained Ms. Thompson. So the idea that you have to take the vaccine, many people are saying that they're going to defend everybody's right not to take it. I want to mention to you that there is no legal liability for Pfizer or Moderna or AstraZeneca in the United States if you die of that vaccine. The PrEP Act, which was enacted in February of 2020, went into effect February the 4th, absolves all people of any legal recourse that comes from damage that they incur as a result of taking this COVID-19 vaccine. There's no legal liability. Now, if your child takes another vaccine, there's a vaccine remedy board that they can go to, but nobody who makes vaccines in America is directly liable for any harm that comes as a result of it. Now, a lot of people say, well, you know, vaccines are safe. Well, cars are safe. But Ford, if their cars roll over, right, are not absolved from liability if their car rolls over.
And 23 died in Norway.
23 died in Norway. So Brother Director said it's 23 people in Norway that died, just drop dead, healthy people after taking this vaccine. Okay? And we're talking about the Pfizer vaccine that they opted to take. So I just wanted to lay that out there. People are dying now as a result of this vaccine. And when somebody tells you that something is safe, and at the same time people are dropping dead. Now I wanted to mention this to you. When that woman, that nurse, got she got the vaccine and she was doing a press conference and she fell out right after taking the vaccine. When you repost that on Facebook and Instagram, a tag comes up on it saying that it's misleading. Everything that goes to let you know about the bad side effects of the vaccine, it is being flagged by Facebook and sometimes flagged by these other social media outlets such that you disbelieve in it and don't believe what you see. We saw the woman say she just took the vaccine and fall out. Now they're saying that she said she had a condition and it was unrelated, okay? They are doing everything possible to not give another side to this thing. They only want one opinion to be out. And if another opinion does come out, they want that other opinion to already be discredited. But I'm telling you, 23 people died in Norway, and Norway is not a big country, okay, compared to the United States. It's not a big country. As a matter of fact, when I was at the University of New Orleans living in the dormitory, one of the people that used to tutor me in math, he was a Norwegian. And he said compared to the U.S., Norway is very small. So they've already lost 23 people. And Norway is a very, very white country. Very white. Extremely. Like pink white. So I just wanted to lay that out there. Let's go ahead and take this call. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air with the Community Defender.
Hey, Brother Dale. I was just enjoying the show and wanted to update you. It's actually like 29 now confirmed dead related to that vaccine, and they're all elderly. But I mean, the elderly are still important. So, but anyway, just wanted to let you know. I mean, this is like ongoing, so that's definitely a concern. But thanks for the show. I'll hang up and listen.
And I do appreciate the correction. And if my information is a little out of date and the death toll is continuing to rise, don't hesitate to give me a call to help me out. And of course, I definitely appreciate that. The point I'm making is that this vaccine appears to be very dangerous to some people. And elderly people have died as a result of taking this vaccine. Now, for whatever reason, this society, this government, the media, is focusing and trying to get our people in particular to take the vaccine. Now, someone called me and they were telling me about a celebrity, a famous attorney, a celebrity, who the enemy is trying to get this brother with a legitimate black card now to get on TV and get a shot. And what I told the activists is, when they called me and said, man, they're really coming at him. I said, look, you tell them to do a commercial and ask if these people will pay for a commercial where he's advising young black men to go to college and go to law school and become civil rights and criminal defense attorneys like he is. Not a shot. Let's promote some fruits and vegetables. Let these people get up, and let all of our leaders get up and say, hey, we are going to eat fruits and vegetables, and we're not going to go to the fast food drive-thru. Those kinds of measures will go a much longer way in helping the overall health and the survival rate of our people than letting yourself be used by people who don't care about black folks to get on television to take a shot and do that. Jesse did it. But these are the same people, and we got video of them hanging out with Trump. Their judgment has not always been good. And even after he took out a full page ad against the Central Park Five, our civil rights leaders were high-fiving Trump, hanging out with Trump, at the casino with Trump, at the boxing match with Trump, saying that Trump was this nice guy. They were wrong then, and they're wrong now. Okay? The Honorable Louis Farrakhan has said the one who loves black people and who has been uncompromised says no shots. And I'm putting it out there just like that. Go ahead, Carl. You on there with the Community Defender?
Yes, good evening, Brother Darrell.
So there's a second man in Louisiana that's not watching the Saints game. So that you're the second person that I noticed, and me, you, and the director, and the second caller. We the only 4 people not watching the Saints game? But go ahead.
Yes, good evening, Brother Darrell. Like always, you always bring good information to the airwave. You know, the flu shot's been going on for many years. Every time I go to a doctor's office, they always want to know if I had a flu shot. Did you have your flu shot? No, I don't take it. I say, well, why are you trying to give it to me? You know, that's the same way with this Corona-19 vaccine. Mm-hmm. You know, if people run out here to get it, if they don't get the same vaccine from the president of the United States, vaccine bottle, I don't want them. You know, because they're going to always take care of the higher up in a better situation. They're going to do their, how you could say that, the hood vaccine. So the hood vaccine might be water, might be something that's not really beneficial to us. So why take it? You know, and everybody that want to get in line to take it, you know, I pray with them. I hope that they come out to be a better way. But I'm a concerned community activist. I'm not just a community activist. So, you know, I'm trying to let people know, you know, you do it, you're on your own, because they do make you sign papers. You understand me? Where you can't come back and blame them for the vaccine that they're giving you. Shame on us. Thank you, Brother Darrell, for all that you do to bring the voice to the airway.
Thank you, my brother, and I definitely appreciate your support and the support of people like you. We are about to make in a few months 22 years, and you know, we're very, very grateful to the God that he's blessed us to make it this far, and it's only been because of the support that we get that we're able to do those things that we do. Now, I want to mention to you as we set up this video that the minister said to African leaders not to trust the vaccine. So he went worldwide on July 4th on his criterion message. He went worldwide with that thing. And so if we can, Brother Director, do you have it queued up?
Yes, sir.
If we can go ahead and cue that up and let it roll right quick. And caller, just hold for just a second and we'll be right with you. Go Go ahead and roll that clip, my brother.
Zambia must not inject any vaccine in any Zambian body before strenuous verification and validation is done to this vaccine. No injection should be inserted into a body of any Zambian. We must declare that the vaccine is unsafe until it is scientifically proved to be safe. Not by the Americans, like I said, not by the Russians, not by the Europeans, but declared safe by our own scientists and our own doctors. I heard somebody say, where are we going to get scientists and doctors? Well, if you can't verify what is given to you by your own people, then I suggest that you don't get involved in touching things that are made by others, because then you can be poisoned and we can all die like fools, like Martin Luther King Jr. said. If we are ignorant and we don't want to verify what we eat and what we inject in our bodies or ingest in our bodies, then I think that we do not have the sovereignty and we are not a state. We are now called a banana republic. But I believe that we have got some of the most educated scientists in this country and doctors who must be trusted to dissect the constitution of this vaccine and ensure that it is right and fit for our people. We may be poor, but we are not stupid. We can read when they write on the vaccine that this is not for distribution in the United States, and this cannot be used in the European Union. This this vaccine cannot be used in Europe. They're even telling you that this is not for us because they've got some other substandard stuff that they make for us. How do you know the injection that was given to President Biden is the same vaccine that is coming here? You didn't check it when they put it on him. You have not compared that vaccine to the vaccine you have received. You can watch it on CNN and say, even President Biden got a dosage of it. Are you sure? Did you see it? Did you get the drop and analyze it that it's the same drop getting into an African's body? I think that we need to be more responsible. And our salvation outside God will be by responsible governments on the continent of Africa. Corrupt governments, those who are just looking for money from the West, are going to kill their people like fools. We shall die like fools if we have a government which is corrupt and is only waiting to be given money by the international community. We should never accept everything that comes to us without verifying it ourselves. So I shall not debate myself our reservations on the privileged information that we hold about the coming vaccine. I think I shall leave that out. I shall not deal with it. Suffice to say that I would not inject it into my body, my children's, or those I love who happen to be all Zambians. This position can only change if it is established by ourselves that the vaccine is safe.
The Africans said that it can't be distributed in the United States, in the European Union. So it was specifically targeted at the African. He was breaking all of that stuff down as a doctor. So I just wanted to lay that out there. Africa is waking up to the detrimental impact of the European and American vaccines, and we as a people should wake up as well. Caller, we definitely thank you for your patience, and welcome to the Community Defender Talk Show. Go ahead, caller.
Yes, good evening, Brother Darrell.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, sir. There's so many topics I want to touch on, man. But I'm going to go with the fresh fruits and vegetables. I know I'm aware of a program in Baton Rouge. It's called the Pharmacy, FARMACY, and they prescribe the fresh fruits and vegetables to patients, and it's rare. that it's not enough. I was wondering how we can get that on a more wide scale level.
Well, I'm now that is not my expertise, but I am a member of an agricultural co-op myself, and I receive fresh food, fresh vegetables, fresh beans, fresh staple goods that are organically grown that I do within my religious organization, the Nation of Islam. I have hundreds of pounds of fresh food, fresh produce at my house right now that is grown in a natural way that's very, very healthy. I do that because it's important. Now there is a farmer's market downtown. Of course, things have slowed down a little bit with COVID, but the way that you make something widespread is by supporting it. Let me go ahead and take this other caller. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air with the Community Defender.
Yeah, it's a fantastic program. No, I wanted to also say there are a lot of others that are not watching the football game. And I wanted to say that how do we know that the shot that they're giving these celebrities is the real